Hi guys, how are y'all? Hope everybody's good. We are Zainlitha Studio, and today we have one of my best friends, Naledi Create. Can you please introduce yourself?
Naledi Create. I am a creative entrepreneur, filmmaker, events curator. I curate all things that are beautiful in the art space.
Can you please tell us more about the storylines that you're creating?
I work on a lot of films. Independent filmmaker at the moment, so I've done quite a number of projects, most of which are literally about my community. I've done a project called The Fix, which is kind of about a mother who decides to save her son from mob justice by killing him herself, which is very much like, I guess, a comment on kind of how society handles people that struggle with drug addiction. And then one of my favorite projects, which hopefully I'm going to reshoot, is called Are You You? Which is an exploration of identity, how we hide ourselves, and an effort to fit in, and the choice to live authentically. It's also just about me being a non-binary person and exploring that as someone who had to transition kind of from being a woman to just like being a person. And there's something else I'm working on right now, which is very exciting. Yeah.
Can you please pause a bit there? I don't know. Yes, at Zainlitha Studio, we deal a lot with like storytelling, especially for the games that we create. The recent one we created was Anele, and it's about like a girl whose parents have been abducted and she has to go fight the villains and stuff. She's from the slums and all that, so yeah. So I have some few questions for you today. So the first question is like, how do you approach building a story that keeps the people emotionally invested?
First of all, I love emotions. And I always try and stir up emotions. But like, I think you start with, what do you want people to feel, right? That comes directly after, how do you feel about the topic that you're working on? So I think that's how you build stories that are emotional in premise, and then how you feel and how you want people to feel will dictate everything else that happens in the story, and how you start building the scenes, and at the end of the day, the entire story as a whole.
Thank you. That was so great. The next question, what technique do you use to balance character development with the world build?
Sure, okay, so when you build your world, you kind of build setting, right? So with Anele, you have to feel like you're in the slums, right? You have your browns, you have, the world is brown and gray and dark, so you play around with that idea of what world does this character exist in, but also is the world reflective of the character itself, right? So if we are artists and we are creators, and then like we're in a dark, dingy place, it's weird. That world doesn't translate. Or like we're in a technical lab with microscopes, it's just like, no. So when you think about personalities and where do certain personalities live, that's how you build that relationship between environment and character, and that relationship.
Thank you. These are such difficult questions, and they're like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's Alright, so the third question is, in what way do you see the future of film and gaming converging?
Sure, I think obviously fundamentally storytelling, I think interaction. I think we watch films because we want to escape our world, right? We want to exist in another place, in another reality. I think that's what gaming does. It offers you the chance to be someone else, to exist in a different reality. So I think that marriage is beautiful, and I think gamers and filmmakers speaking to each other, developing stories, specifically with the aspect of story together, I think like it has a beautiful future in that sense. But at the same time, just making it cinematic, right? Feeling like you're inside a movie, I think is a beautiful way to look at gaming when you think about filmmaking and gaming existing together.
Interesting. What do you think gamers can learn from the film industry, and what do you think we can learn from? What do you think y'all can learn from our industry?
That's an interesting one. As someone who's like hasn't
Fine,
only
no
now
answer.
been curious about gaming. It's I think one of the things that I keep learning is like the ability and this is gonna sound horrible, the ability to possess a person. Like I feel like gamers like you completely leave your existence. Whereas like when you're a filmmaker, sometimes you're very critical of what's happening. Oh, what's the next thing, right? And I think the ability to allow people to kind of escape entirely is something that like I want to learn from gaming. How people can just be swallowed by the experience, which is different from filmmaking. But I also think gamers and people that develop games specifically can learn kind of how to be more social in terms of commentary, right? Like, so gaming, sure, we're gaming, but like what are the social contributions? What are you saying about society in general in your game? What's the lesson? How do you contribute? Because that's an important part of filmmaking.
Man, that was a good one.
Took
Let me
long.
see. Okay, if you're a director in a cinematic cut scene for a game, how would you approach it? Basically, like, if you were to create a game, what would your game look like or be like?
It'll be genderless. That's the first thing. Like I think I've developed characters that are like just like human beings interacting based on ability and skill and talent. So like that's the first approach. Like I think about how do I agender the game, right? Or kind of give qualities to a quote unquote man, to a female character, you know, play around with those feelings and ideas, but also just maybe like a social change type of game, right? You're chasing kind of social justice, but it's also fun and vain, right? Like wanting to achieve, wanting to be rich, like just playing around with those things that are like everyone wants, like materialism in nuanced ways, but like pushing politics in terms of like, gender's not that deep, but also we need to change society. So I think I try and play around with those ideas. Yeah.
Okay, your phone shut down, so yeah, already shut down. Still, yeah. We have some few questions left. And,
Yeah, let's do 2 or 3. So what
how do you handle creative disagreements? Start here.
Okay. You know what? I used to be like, if you don't get the vision, like bounce. Because I feel like people should be prepared when they come onto a project. But I've learned in the last couple of years, like curiosity, right? When people are disagreeing with you, it's not that like they're attacking you. So I used to be very defensive, but now I'm really like curious. Okay, what do you mean that this doesn't work, right? And how can we solve that problem? So I think I approach it now with a lot more curiosity than I used to, and maybe that's just like growing up.
Okay, last question. The phone shut down.
Again,
For the last time.
your memory
For
is
the
whacked,
last
dude.
time. Wow. And for the things I do, you wouldn't think that it's that bad.
It's not work for that.
Damn. Oh, 17. I forgot it. So another question is, what advice would you give young storytellers trying to push their media boundaries?
Like do it afraid. Like I think, like do the work that matters to you. Like find time. I know like we have to make money, but like find time to do the work that matters to you. Even if when it doesn't make sense, eventually it will. Like there's a lot of stuff that I do now, even outside of the film world. I'm just like, oh, I dreamt about this when I was like 18 and I thought I was crazy. But like, oh, I'm doing it. And so like be brave. Even when you're scared. I think sometimes we confuse like the absence of fear with bravery, right? But like sometimes just do it when you're scared. Do it as we're scared. But yeah, be brave, do the stuff you love. Yeah, do more of the stuff you love more often. Yeah.
And thank you. With that, friend, Naledi Create, storyteller. I don't know, they do a lot. So me and them are like, you know, yeah, I'm this and that and that and that. So yeah,
thanks,
that's that. And thank you. Please tell them where you're from.
Oh, I'm from the Val, 18 Moyeng.
From South
Yeah.
Africa.
Italy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man.